Always pretend to be strong, but you never are.
You don't know how much this hurts me.
You don't recognize the woman who wrote it, either. Marcus stood in a hollowed-out house, holding the legal papers that ended his life as he knew it. While he was out trying to prove his worth to a world that saw him as a threat, his wife was packing away a decade of memories. He thought he was winning the game, but he lost the only prize that mattered. He spent the night with his mistress, shocked as his wife packed up, left divorce papers, then vanished. Welcome, story lovers, from where are you watching? Hit the like button and drop your city name in the comments so we can see how far our story travels. Marcus was a man who believed in the power of merit. As a senior architect at a prestigious firm in the city, his life was defined by clean lines, structural integrity, and a relentless work ethic. He had spent years building a reputation that he hoped would shield him from the subtle coldness he often felt in the boardroom. His wife Alina was his rock, the person who reminded him that his worth wasn't tied to his blueprints. However, lately, the air in their home had grown thin. Marcus had become increasingly distracted by a high-stakes project, often staying late or disappearing into his home office. He felt he was building a legacy for his family, but he failed to notice the growing distance in Elena's eyes. Marcus was convinced he was doing it for them. Was his desperate need to prove he belonged in a world that constantly questioned his presence. The officer's tone wasn't just authoritative. The question wasn't about registration. It was about the audacity of a black man behind the wheel of a luxury sedan in that zip code, and the emotional absence that felt like a betrayal. She saw a man so obsessed with conquering a system that ignored him that he had begun to ignore the only person who truly saw him. The next day, Marcus intentionally stayed out late again. A silent protest against the pressures of his life, seeking a temporary escape in the city's lights. He thought he was in control. The systemic pressure from the outside had finally cracked the foundation of his home. Marcus walked into his house at 3 a.m., the silence heavy and suffocating. He expected a confrontation, a lecture, or even tears. Instead, he found an echoing void. The living room, once filled with Elena's vibrant art, was stripped bare. He stumbled into the bedroom, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. Inside, divorce papers, signed and dated. You've spent your life fighting to be seen by people who hate you, while becoming invisible to the woman who loved you. Alina was gone. No bags, no tracks, no forwarding address. Dear audience, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to give it a like. It really helps. Marcus sat on the floor of his empty home, the weight of his success finally crushing him. This wasn't just a story of a broken marriage. The external world had demanded so much of his spirit that he had nothing left to give at home. We often talk about the lives lost to injustice, but what about the loves lost to the exhaustion of it?